Hello, welcome into the Emporium. Is there anything I can help you look for? Nothing in particular. Alright. Well, an item that we've just gotten in is the rosary that Van Helsing used against Dracula. This was once a blessed item, but when it failed to repel Dracula, it became cursed. We have a cross made out of the iron of a cemetery gate. These onyx black beads with some blood red stones. And some silver that was once blessed, but now as the item has become cursed, no longer is. This is a highly sought after item that many people and creatures of the night alike would love to get their hands on. So we do ask a bit of a high price, but we are available to negotiate. We have these chicken bones that belong to Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau. These have many powers and folk magic. The ashes of a vampire, or an accused vampire, as it may be, are inside of this bottle. It was brought in by a strange fellow. Not entirely sure who he was, but we do believe, upon further research, that this was the remains of a vampire that had been burned in a ritual to hopefully rid the town of the vampirism. The next item that we have is a tarot deck. It is by a local count named Alejandro Colucci and features various Gothic horror icons. This is a personal favorite picture of mine, of this vampire hanging upside down. You want to take a look? Alright. Let's open it up. And you see, as we're taking off the lid, the pictures underneath are another version of the pictures that are on the top lid here. The art on the back of the cards is an inverted cross with blood and some various Gothic cathedral details. Here we have the King of Swords. The Queen of Swords with this knight behind her. I believe that this is the Knight of Swords. And then there are a few that are a bit more modern looking. So like this one is a bit more futuristic or modern looking thrown in. You have the Ten of Swords, this creepy figure here, jumping down from a tree it appears. Here's a picture that I quite like, this creepy vampire character. The Eight of Swords, this Victorian man with the ravens flying up above and the tombstones in the background with the fog. We have a creepy shadow that it appears that someone, it's either the shadow of this figure here or maybe a figure that is behind them and they have not seen yet. We have what appears to be Dracula transforming into a bat as he leaves the ship and comes upon land in, was it London, England? We have this creepy Victorian lady here with a carriage in the background in a moonlit forest. A priest doing what appears to be a ritual of pulling the sheet over a deceased person's body in a candlelit room. Two vampires outside of a mansion. Two different vampires. Or perhaps one is a vampire and one is a mortal. And there they are out on the castle rampart in the fog. We have what appears to be Christopher Lee in the factual documentary on Dracula's life, where he played Dracula. This is the King of Wands, I believe. We have what appears to be a Marie Antoinette-esque vampire with a skull in a graveyard as the Queen of Wands, with this haunting angel statue in the background. A vampire burns as he stands on a grotesque or maybe, actually, I think that's a gargoyle. The difference is that the gargoyles have water spouts. The grotesques are just the statues. But here is a vampire out on a gargoyle on what appears to be Notre Dame or another Gothic cathedral. And the sun has come out, and he's burning in the sunlight. I love the details, like on the gargoyle here. Here's another more modern or futuristic looking vampire hunter. Here we have a crimson mist and a lantern as a vampire looks out at the night. A vampire descends a staircase in their castle. Here's one that I really like. We have this kind of Nosferatu looking vampire disappearing into the shadow with a big bat wing. Here we have two figures at what appears to be maybe a masquerade ball with this arsenic green-like coloring. I'm not sure where these warriors are supposed to be from. Maybe like southeastern Europe. Here we have a very creepy spider character. These long legs. Here we have a burning building with one of those weeping angel statues. Here we have a vampire and her wolf heading out into the gardens of the castle with a candelabra. And I believe that this picture is of the local countess. Yeah, she's quite nice. I've met her a few times. What appears to be an upside-down tree with the roots going up into the heavens. And these birds flying out. A doorway with stairs leading up into the tree. Another creepy vampire, or other ghoul, perhaps. But this one has long teeth and the pointed ears, so I'm thinking probably a vampire. Here I think this might be another one of those slightly more modern looking designs that this outfit that this character has. Once again, up on a stone statue on the side of a cathedral. Alright, well this is definitely a more modern character. With the leather jacket and the crossbow. I think this is another vampire hunter. Here we have some priest or other papal type figure, it looks like. This creepy character, a bit boogeyman-esque, but we have the vampire castle in the background. Oh, and he does have fangs. A weathered angel statue, praying with the castle in the background and the birds flying. This looks a bit like the castle down the street. Oh, and this looks like the lord of the castle down the street. There you go. Here it's the Six of Coins, and he has these silver coins dropping down out of his hand. Here we have what I believe are two grave robbers, although this one looks like he's dressed as a monk. So maybe they're digging the grave. This guy looks a bit too sneaky for that, though. I think they might be up to something. They're trying to get a little money on the side from some doctors that pay for cadavers for their medical students to practice on. Here we have a vampire biting and sucking the blood from the sleeping man's hand. with this ghostly curtain blowing in. This guy kind of looks like someone that came into the shop yesterday. He looked about this happy too. He wasn't too happy about the Hawthorne steaks being sold out. Seemed like kind of a worrier. We haven't had a vampire problem in the last few hundred years, but he was just sure that he needed a steak. We have this creepy figure in sort of like this nightcap crawling along the floor of what's probably somebody's basement. Oh, it's kind of like there's like stone and with the castle stairs coming down. So maybe it's like a dungeon or someplace like that. And here's the King of Cups, Vlad Dracul, the Transylvanian Lord. Here we have a vampire in white. And a second vampire behind. Another figure on the statue of a cathedral. Oh no, here's Van Helsing himself with his steak ready. Got London in the background. So yeah, that must have been London that Dracula landed in. And here's what looks like Nosferatu. Personal favorite of mine. In front of this Gothic cathedral. And he's up on these steps, but it looks like maybe there's like either a body in a open casket that he's dug up, or a fresh victim lying there with their arm going over the side. Here we have another countess. A knight. This king, who appears to have these cauldrons of blood. He's out in the steppe. I believe that this is the vampire. Yes, this is the vampire from the side of the box. And she's leaning up against this concrete or stone wall. And behind her, there's someone has scratched into the wall, Memento Mori, which means remember death. It's part of a saying that I think it's Tempus Fugit, Memento Mori, means time flies, remember death. She's another bit more modern looking character. And here we have some ghosts. This one's wearing quite a fancy fur, it appears. And here they are going through this misty graveyard. I used to live by a graveyard like that, and the ghosts back there weren't quite as fancy. They looked a little bit more like this one back here, a little sheet ghost. Well, I never really did talk to them a whole lot. They seemed pretty quiet. Here we have a lord of the manor with some fangs. Perhaps someone in the Talbot family. They're quite a mysterious lot, you know. I have some secrets. Oh no, here's quite a nice garden if you need any garden inspiration. We have this lovely branchy, viney garden with some white flowers, and this lady here in, I'm not sure really, is that brown? Orange? What color is that? That dress has got multiple colors in it, but it nicely complements the wood colors. Looks very natural, like maybe she's a forest fairy. You have to beware of those fairies. Now, some stories like to portray them as a little bit nicer and more trustworthy than they may seem. But those of us out here in the old country, we know what they're really like. Never step inside a fairy circle. Here is one of cups, or maybe the first of cups. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to say that. I am quite new to this myself. And we have what appears to be some ritual going on with this chalice of blood, and there's this chainmail armor down here. Here we have someone rising up with this fiery smoke with these stakes in hand. And I don't offhand have memorized which, I think this is called the main arcana, or the major arcana. I think that's what it's called. I don't have offhand memorized which card name this is, so I can't really tell you the significance, but she certainly does have those hawthorn stakes that guy who came in seems so insistent on having. Here's possibly my favorite picture. No, not my favorite, because we still need to see that vampire hanging upside down. But here's a favorite of mine. We have this Nosferatu-looking vampire with this snowy cathedral, and he's walking through this graveyard, and there's this blood trailing off of the back of his cape, and in the snow behind him. Again, I'm not sure exactly which card this is offhand. There's a booklet that comes with this, so you'll be able to, if you decide to purchase this, you'll be able to see various things of it, the structure of the deck, performing a tarot reading. Oh no, here we have what cards these are. So let's take a look. Which one this is here? Did I miss it? I'm not great with Roman numerals, as you've probably already been able to figure out. Judgment. Alright, so this is Judgment. Now, who's this? The World. Alright. We have the World, and she's rising up in the smoke with this bird behind her. This rose petal from our... We had a very romantic Cupid's romance dinner party that these rose petals that they might look like red rose petals, but they're actually white ones that are soaked in a particular substance that you might be able to guess. These were given to each guest at the party. I were quite surprised, though, when Cupid actually showed up, and, you know, doesn't look quite like in the pictures and stuff. It's actually quite a skeletal figure with bat-like wings. Not quite a little baby. Little blonde, plump baby. No, that's not quite right. Here we have a figure in the snow. Kind of a banshee-like figure with smoke coming out of their mouth and these fangs. And they have one of these bones in hand, not unlike the bones that were in Marie Laveau's private collection that we have here. Now let's see, which card is that? The Sun. This character is out in the snow, and we can see the sun up here shining through. Here's quite a nice, dark, classic Gothic horror picture here. We have this banshee-like character screaming in the night, the full moon, and it's interesting, we have this dark background with the actually lighter silhouette of the trees back here. Let's see. That is the moon. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? So we have the sun and the moon. And here we have the stars. You can see the stars above. I really enjoy this picture. And it looks like it's Nosferatu there, Count Orlok, looking out of his apartment across the street, like in the movie, where he looks across the street and sees the house of the protagonist as he's hypnotizing. I think her name was Helen. Now this must be the tower. I have a tower on fire with these spooky hooded figures down at the bottom. This must be the devil. I love this, like, medieval sort of style illustration here with this, like, old folk horror farm pitchfork and the fire, like the way that the whole like face is done. Oh, and I just noticed there's these creepy, rotting skeletal figures hanging down from the ceiling, with these chains going across, and of course the fire. Here we have this, I think he's a vampire, on the edge of this sort of waterfall thing. Let's see. Temperance. The hunt requires incredible patience and self-control. A savage beast flailing in its aggression will scare off its prey. Stalk your quarry with coolness of mind and a light tread until the moment when you must strike. Yeah, I should have been reading the little thing for each of these. I didn't realize that they had little write-ups. Yeah, so this is the devil, and it says, fierce as we may be, there are other dark and dangerous creatures that walk the night. Where we are noble predators, demons seek twisted deals to claim the souls of the unwary. Their subtle poisons eat away at their victims until nothing is left but an empty husk. You have to appreciate their enthusiasm for their work. And this is the tower. The romantic novels are true. We once ruled our kingdoms from majestic castles that proclaimed our power to the far corners of the land. But, it was this arrogance that brought the hunters down upon us. Burned out of our ancestral homes, we have had to find what safety we can in the shadows. So I guess these are the vampire hunters then, down here, setting the vampire's tower on fire. This is probably death. And a skeleton figure here. Yes, death. Long are our lives, and great are our powers, but even the illustrious vampire must fear the reaper who seeks us out. Fortunately, ours is a life surrounded by death, from our mortal loved ones who fall by the wayside to the countless lives we drink. We are surrounded by a multitude of bittersweet partings. Oh, now here's my ultimate favorite. This must be the Hanged Man or Hanging Man. I can't remember technically what the name is of this card. If this is the card I'm thinking of, which I'd be kind of amazed if it wasn't. But I love this illustration. I'd love to just have like a big poster of that. I love these like kind of like those creepy and kind of almost Nosferatu looking type vampires with the bat wings. I think that's very cool. The Hanged Man By day we must slumber, a deep sleep like a living death. During this time we are most vulnerable, easy prey for any hunter. And yet from this torpor, I haven't heard that word before, okay. And yet from this torpor we arise refreshed and renewed. We die at sunrise to be fully reborn in our power. Here we have this zombie-like figure rising up out of the grave. Oh, I wonder if this is justice, because down here it appears that this is a fallen statue of justice with the sword and the scales. I quite like where they have the explanations of the different pictures. I hadn't realized that before. Yes, justice. Our kind does not submit to the petty laws of mortals. We live by a simpler sacred code. Cause and effect, action and reaction, predator and prey. In the pursuit of your desires, do not waver. Hesitation is a waste of energy. Above all else, be true to your own nature. I'm not sure which one this is, but here we have this almost like Egyptian looking sort of topper on this piece of architecture here with, and I'm not sure if this is like a figure that's like 3 separate vampires or if it's sort of like a triple goddess type thing. So let's take a look. Hierophant. The wisdom of the past may serve you in the present moment. Your immortal sire gifted you with their blood, initiating you into our tradition and passing an ancient spark over to your keeping. Heed their words, follow their guidance, join the choir of the faithful, and you will earn the keys to paradise. And here we have this skeletal type character coming out of what appears to be a cave, and there's this hooded, decrepit figure there. Let's see. What does that represent? The Hermit. At times, the elders of our kind will leave behind the weakness of their humanity in the political games vampires so delight in. They make their way into the wilderness and seek wisdom in the shadows of the deep caverns of the world. The young will seek them out for answers only they can provide. And here we have a vampire attempting to leap upon this young child who has cloves of garlic and another item that I can't quite make out. Looks like some sort of like a grass effigy. And that is stopping this vampire in his tracks. Or in midair, as it may be. Strength. Some say it's garlic's purifying powers that make it an... Okay, I'm learning new words today, apparently. Anathema. Anathema? Some say it's garlic's purifying powers that make it anathema to our kind. This is especially true when it is wielded by one who has mastered their own fears. Such a person shines with an unstoppable inner light. And you see she is a bit more in the light, and the vampire's coming in out of the shadow. Oh, a carriage. Really liked this picture as well. Just this foggy night scene, just all kind of green light with this Victorian horse carriage coming up the road in the shadow. The chariot. Our kind tend to travel in style. If you wish to reach your destination, momentum and a team compliant to your will can help you do so. Rise above the ranks of the mortals and speed toward your destiny, and conquer all in your path. That is a bit like Renfield making his way up to Dracula's castle there in the coach. This must be the lovers. And here they are in front of this old angel statue. The lovers. The life eternal should not be spent totally alone. In the shadows we shall encounter those who contain our missing pieces. We must be selective to whom we give our trust, but when you find the one who makes your blood quicken at their touch, you lose yourself in their embrace. And there they are, reaching out toward each other. Oh, and here's another quite cool picture where there's that gargoyle type looking vampire with those bat wings. And this was the one on the front cover of the tarot. Alright, so which one is this? Oh wait, no, that's the Hierophant. Alright, who is that? What one did I say was the Hierophant then? So that's that card. Do you remember which one I said it was? No. Okay, yeah, cool, because I don't either. Moon, the stars, the tower, the devil. That wasn't the one, was it? No, that was some other one. Death, the Hanged Man, Justice. Was that the one? That might have been the one. Alright, let's get this right. Which one is that? The Wheel of Fortune. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because there's that wheel behind her. The Wheel of Fortune. Fate is a cruel mistress, dwelling at the center of the wheel of life, death, and rebirth. Okay, yeah, this is making a lot more sense now. So, she's kind of like the triple figure, where it's life, death, and rebirth, all inside the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, it makes a lot of sense when you actually figure out which one is the right one. Though she favors none of her children more than the others, her greatest gift is opportunity. She opens doorways of possibility for the quick and the capable to leap through in the moments before they close again. Alright, this must be the Emperor. And there he is. Very regal. Again with a chalice of blood down there. And a sword. Sitting on his throne. Quite like those blue robes he's got. Yes, the Emperor. Gird yourself with armor and prepare for conquest and battle. At times such as these, it is unwise to trust too much to compassion and even less to mercy. There are laws even for immortals. Set down the chalice of pleasure and pledge your fealty. Cold blood and a straight spine may serve you well. So this must be the Empress, then. There she is upon her throne, with this roaring fire behind. Empress, unburden yourself and accept the pleasures of life eternal. So kind of the opposite of the Emperor, it sounds like, perhaps. The mother of our kind cares for all her children, bestowing upon them the gift of undying beauty. Set down the tools of war and accept the flask she offers you. Yeah, so like the opposite of the Emperor. As you can tell, I'm not the tarot reader in this shop. I usually just manage the oddities. So, I don't know my cards. But alright, now who's this? This is the other figure, I believe, on... Yeah, there's the other figure on the outside package. Here we have this vampire lady with this white cloak. I find that quite unique. Vampires wearing white. It works quite well in this series, I think, with this Count's artwork. And it appears that she has a pot, kind of like a water pot, but it appears it has blood. And she's sitting up, maybe on a well, actually. She might be up on a well. Oh, and there's these, like, black curtains in the background up above her. That's quite nice. Kind of like a Victorian, those morning curtains that they'd put up on the outside of their house. I quite like those. If I can get out of renting a room in the dungeon in the local castle and I can get one of the haunted houses around here on my own, I think I'd do that just all the time. Just those nice black drapes up on the outside. Priestess. In the quiet and stillness of the night, you will hear and you will understand. The blood is not merely food, it is all the memories, hopes, and fears of one life distilled down into a rich and delectable concoction. Shut out the old unwanted sermons of others and open yourself to what you hear and feel within. So that is, she has her water jug of the sort of like how water is a life-sustaining liquid. She has the blood in there. Oh, we've almost finished. Now, who is this? This almost zombie-like figure reaching up from the ground with this sword down there. Looks like there are multiple broken weapons. Alright, who are you? Number 1, the Magician. It is your indomitable... Alright, that's the middle of a sentence. Get this up here so you can see it a little better, so they aren't all just behind the counter. It is your indomitable will that makes you an apex predator. It began the moment you chose to break free of the dust and the earth, rising up to fill your lungs with the night air. You have been entrusted with the emblems of the 4 bloodlines, for all of their gifts are yours, and with them you may claim any desire. And here is our final one. This ghostly figure going through this green smoke. The Fool. The thirst is everything. The steady pulse of it beckons to you, emboldens you to seek out your prey in the night. Heed the call, let it move you, drawing you out of sleep and doubt and into an existence that is worth something. You will risk anything for just one more taste of it. So that is, we might have more tarot decks in the back, but this is the one that I've been seeing more of around here. This vampire one. I quite like collecting vampire artifacts. You think you might want it? Alright. Well, we'll package this one back up for you. Do you do a lot of fortune telling? Alright, a collector. I like it. Same here. What? That's cool if you already have ones for a bunch of other monsters. Well, those sound like just the final touch to your collection. Well, I'm glad I could help you out there. Alright, and for that will be 1 bouquet of moonflowers. Alright. And are these charged up with the full moon energy? Alright, cool. Well, it sounds like you're all good to go. Well, thanks for stopping in. Hope you have a good night.